Hello and welcome back to Arcane Answers. I'm your host, Lair, and joined with me always are the urban legends themselves, Amanda and Sarah.
Hi,
How you,
Larry.
hi. How are you ladies doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I caught you a little off guard by just starting the show.
You did. I wasn't even muted or anything.
Yeah, maybe happy you shouldn't be. That way we get life reactions like that. Pure radio silence. Um, Today we're going to be talking about urban legends. In my case, monsters. I think most cases here is uh is that correct?
I've got a witch
That's a monster.
and a bandaged man.
Oh, that's totally a monster.
I mean, yeah, after I describe him,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I
I
am
have a
doing.
floating light.
Hmm?
I have a floating light and a monster.
A
Well,
floating
sort of
light.
an undead zombie guy.
Oh yeah, I'm doing Black Eyed Kids. That's what we're starting off with. Black Eyed Kids from the '90s. I remember this. It was on Art Bell as well. I didn't listen to the Art Bell show. I might do that afterwards just to brush up a little bit. But so back before creepypastas were creepypastas, and we just had old radio shows and tabloid magazines.
R.I.P. Weekly World News.
Oh god, I
Oh,
miss that. It was a
that boy was on the cover at least once a week.
I subscribe online. They
I love
give you
that.
little little like the onion kind of stories now. But they're not as good. Like when it was in the paper, it almost felt like it was trying to convince you it was real. Like
Absolutely.
with bad Photoshop. It's like Elvis seen eating a hot dog on Miami Beach. You're like, oh, this is nice.
This is
I,
so Metaphor,
I
wholesome.
yeah, I would
right?
buy those. But
When the
no,
Photoshop was putting photos on top of other photos and then taking pictures of it, so the hot dogs looked
yes.
like a cutout.
Yes, absolutely. Like some fat Elvis looking guy like eating a hot dog and it's cut out. There's an alien serving him or something.
Super
Yeah.
grainy photo.
Mhm. Yeah, so this, like I said, takes us back to the '90s, 96 specifically. The story was written by a Texas journalist named Brian Bethel, and, according to his account, he was sitting in his parked car outside a movie theater in, Texas here, and he is approached by 2 young boys, and he says roughly about 10 to 14 years old. They come up to the window of his car. So, he notices that they're in somewhat of outdated clothing. They spoke in a monotone or overly confident for a manner that didn't match their age. And they asked for a ride to get money to see Mortal Kombat, even though the final showing had already started. And so, one of the things that Bethel noted is the feeling of inexplicable, overwhelming dread. Just sheer fight or flight kicked in when these kids came up to his door, and there should be no reason for that. When he finally made direct eye contact with the boys, he realized their eyes were solid pitch black voids, no sclera. All the white of the eyes and iris are black. So he threw it in reverse and drove away.
Smart
And
man.
yeah, right. He's been eating out on this story for a while. Um, he's gone on to radio shows, he got it sent out, and then, it really took off in the UK. Like, the evolution of this just kinda keeps going because it's a simple formula, right? Creepy
Yeah.
kids seem out of sorts,
See.
overwhelming sense of fear, and there's a vampire rule where they can't come in unless you invite them, right? So they're like, "Let us in to use your toilet or we'll die," and you're like, "No, you gotta go in." They're like, "Please let us in." But
Just
they'll
let me
never.
use your gramophone to call my
Yeah,
parents.
exactly. They come up to your door, they're just like, "The night is dark, don't you agree?"
Don't you agree?
Like, "Yes, and these aromas smell."
I'm gonna start coaching my kid to talk to strangers like that.
I think he already does.
Yeah, probably.
This water tastes well.
Off topic, but the other night we're sitting in the living room and they're like, "What do you think this celebrity smells like?" And I
Oh,
watched those 2 play a celebrity smell game for like 20 minutes.
don't let her fool you. She jumped in and also participated in this game, and it was hilarious.
Yes, it was actually quite fun.
Absolutely. The aroma smell bit I stole from a different podcast because I find that that line so funny. But yeah, anyway, vampire rule, they always have like mundane excuses for what they need: phone, food, water, a ride home, something, but they always just seem off. Like you wouldn't open your door to these kids, you know? And so that just was fuel for the internet's fire. Like, it's been creepypasta'd all over the place. You guys familiar with what a creepypasta is? Should we tell the
Absolutely.
audience? Okay.
Amanda, do you know what a creepypasta is?
I do, but please share it with the audience in case they do not.
Well, it comes from the term copy and paste. And
Oh,
then
I
when
didn't know that.
it turned into a creepy copy and paste and then creepy pasta, right? So it's a story where like they just keep building out of it, you know, and one of them is the Black Eyed Kids, and so this phenomenon kicks off. And like I said, or when it went over to the Europeans, they've actually just got it all over their newspapers. It's literally something that I think is still reported. There's reports in Portland, Oregon. There's Black Eyed Fever. Brian Bethel told his story moving out of the creepypastas and into more of a story where he's telling it on television. In 2012, he was on a television show called Monsters and Mysteries in America, and then he wrote a follow-up article. In 2012, also a movie was produced off of Kickstarter called Black Eyed Kids. I don't know how well it was received, but might be willing to take a look into that. But that's all I've got for tonight. I'm going to kick that over to you.
Should we add that to our watch party movie list?
Oh, that would be fun. You know what? I think we should.
Cool.
And to you, Amanda.
All right. So I am just going to skip over to the next state in Arkansas to discuss the Gurdon Light. So, the Gurdon Light is currently this unexplained phenomena of a light that floats above the railroad tracks near Gurdon, Arkansas at night. Light was first reported in the 1930s and can still sometimes be seen today. So, this is something that like people actively go look for. Um,
Is it like the
there,
Marfa lights?
I'm not familiar with the Martha lights.
Oh, Marfa, Texas.
Oh, Martha.
they appear out in the middle of nowhere like kind of fairy lights, but yeah, they're benign.
Oh, yeah, this is also benign, but it's a single light, and it is located with like, on this 2 or 3-mile stretch of railroad tracks. So there's several popular legends and a few theories to explain the strange appearance of this single floating light. So one ties the light to a 1931 murder of William McLean, a foreman on the Missouri Pacific Railroad. So McLean was beaten to death with a spike hammer over an argument with Lewis McBride over the number of hours he was being scheduled because it was the middle of the Great Depression and they didn't have a lot of money. So it was a very like you can only work these hours. That's it. So yeah, McBride got angry and decided to just pound this guy to death with this spike hammer.
Oh, wow, I'm
Uh,
looking up what a spike hammer is right now.
yeah, to pound spikes into the ground.
Sounds like an
Yeah.
awful way to go.
Yeah, it wasn't great. So, the speculation is that the light is attributed to the ghostly lantern carried by the spirit of William McLean. I can't really think of anything more depressing than being stuck at work in the afterlife, so I super hope that isn't it.
Yeah.
Another legend is that a railroad worker accidentally fell in front of an oncoming train and was decapitated. So some locals believe that the light is a lantern carried by that ghost of the railroad worker who is still looking for his head. For those who have a more scientific bent, I don't know if you know anything about the geology of that area, like the Missouri, Arkansas area,
Not
but
really.
it is just crystal underneath. Like
Oh, okay.
mineral deposits, there's a huge amount of mineral deposits. Sarah and I even went out to Arkansas and got a bunch of quartz because it's just there. It was like all over the ground.
There's also that diamond mine in
Yes.
Arkansas.
Yeah, I think it's like Crater National Park or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, you could just go out and just dig for diamonds and other gems.
That's your other
So
podcast with Sarah, right? Digging for diamonds?
digging for diamonds.
That's just what we do in our spare time.
Right. So there is a theory that the light is actually electricity that's being put off from pressurized quartz crystal beneath the earth. So there is a phenomenon called let's see, piezoelectricity, where rapid high stress on quartz releases faint flashes called triboluminescence. However, these are generally flickers and not sustained lights.
You know,
Um,
it's really interesting about that.
what?
That's actually part of how an ultrasound probe works.
Oh, that is really interesting.
Hmm.
The other theory is that it might be swamp gas. However, there's not really any particular weather associated with this appearance, and usually swamp gas lights have a very particular weather, so it's probably not that either.
It's always swamp gas.
It's always swamp gas.
Every time.
And then the second urban legend I want to discuss actually comes from the area of my hometown in the Wenatchee Valley. So this is the legend of Prop Man.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Now I know this one a little bit because I went to day camp in the same area, and they would tell the story of the prop man.
Right. Yeah. So this tale starts on September 30th, 1944, when a B-24 airplane crashed down in what is now a popular ski resort at Mission Ridge. So the crash site is called Bomber's Bowl, and parts of the wreckage and a plaque memorializing the tragedy are still there today. Like apparently it's good luck to kiss the prop or the wing or something to make snowfall. I wouldn't do it, but that was part of it.
Good way to get herpes.
Seems like it. The plane carried 6 crew members and some sensitive war documents when it went down. So because of the, secretive nature of those documents it was carrying, an extensive search and retrieval effort was made at the time. Only 5 of the 6 bodies were ever recovered, but a blood trail leading to a nearby cave led to speculation that the gunner had been able to parachute out when the plane was going down, only to be impaled by a broken prop that was also never recovered. So they recovered half the prop, but the other half was missing. They were never able to find that either. Since the crash in 1944, there have been like numerous reports just over the years and continuing today, made by employees of Mission Ridge, skiers, hikers, Boy Scouts of encountering a ghastly figure in a soldier's uniform with missing body parts, grotesquely swollen features, and a propeller blade in his chest. So,
That's the best. It really is.
yeah, yeah. So he's either a ghost or some sort of like creepy propeller impaled zombie just shuffling around in the woods around
Yeah.
Mission
Now,
Ridge.
Sarah, I'm surprised you never heard this.
I have never heard of this, and I'm very disappointed in myself for not knowing about this since
We
I
weren't
also grew up in that same area.
Yeah,
But
we
no,
weren't allowed to go skiing though.
I went
So,
snowboarding. Not well, but I did it.
Oh, yeah, it said I wasn't athletic enough and he wasn't gonna pay for it.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like, you're gonna hurt yourself.
uh, I sent you a thing for the Wenatchee World is the newspaper from our hometown. And, they had a lovely illustration before AI, you know,
Ooh.
of the prop man being silhouetted by the moon.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look this up now.
Give it a little romance.
Yeah, I just thought, wow, that's a beautiful way to pay tribute to it.
Ugh. Well, what's really weird is they don't give the name of the soldier that it would have been.
I thought the prop propeller was a machete on his back
Ah.
in this photo.
Oh.
Mhm. That went nowhere. Sorry, I should have given you more than just a, "Hmm,
No, you're
Alright.
fine. I'm
clever
sending
observation."
I'm sending it in the group. Well, I saw it when you sent the link.
Yeah.
I did see that photo, and I was like, "Why does the guy have a machete?" And then now
Uh,
I understand.
it's got a prop through him.
That
Mm.
makes more sense.
Yeah,
A
my
lot of
dad would
things
tell
make
me
more
stories
sense.
about the prop man.
Huh,
Yep, that's the one. It does look like a machete in his hand, kind of
yeah,
poorly put into there with a forced perspective.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally see that.
Okay, that makes
Yeah,
me feel better.
yeah.
Yeah, so that I thought it was fun. I wanted to give a little local flair.
You know what? You missed out on the scary story aspect of it, like the whole sitting around the campfire, you know, with somebody telling you that he's right behind you, kind of deal.
Yeah, I can imagine just generations of terrified Boy Scouts up there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sorry you did miss out on that, Sarah.
Man, that's fine.
Yeah,
Next time I make my way up there, I'm gonna have to, try to hike down to the plane and see what's up.
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, Bomber's Bowl's neat.
Well, that whole area is gorgeous
Oh, it
too.
absolutely is. Yeah.
I'm not a hiker, so hopefully it's an easy trail.
Yeah,
Um.
hiking in Washington and hiking in Oklahoma are two entirely different sports.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Hiking in Washington is well,
Hiking?
it's really something. There's points where it's climbing.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, Larry, were you on the trip when we went to Herman Creek and it was like a mile of just what felt like a 90-degree angle?
I don't
You know,
recall. Yeah.
it's the only time I've ever sat down on a trail and just kind of cried a little bit. I was like,
No,
"My whole
I don't
body
think so,
hurts.
but
Who
maybe.
thought this was a good idea? I hate you."
My dad took me elk hunting, and we were standing on the side of a mountain, but you could lay back and just be laying back on the dirt, like, and then slightly tilt up and you'd be standing.
So
That's
you
how
were out goating it.
yes, you're mountain
Yeah.
goating it. I'm like, if you did shoot an elk, right? What are you gonna do? Roll it down? I mean, like, there's
You'd
no way
have
we're
to.
backing it out of here. That
Just
sucker's gonna be hamburger at the bottom.
yeah,
Yeah.
just tenderizing the meat.
Yeah, I swear, some places we'd go, like, this is just a bad idea.
Not well thought out.
Yeah,
All
but
right, Sarah, what do you have?
All right. Well, we are going to go down the states a little bit to the Oregon coast. So, on a stretch of highway between Highway 101 and the junction of Highway 26, right outside of Cannon Beach, there is a ghoulish figure. So, like most urban legends, he targets canoodling teens. Um,
Not noodling teens.
right? Um, it
oh,
said that he
Harold,
was,
did you hear that out there in the woods?
uh huh. Oh, I'm getting there. Don't you worry. It said that he may have been a logger that met his fate in a sawmill accident. The story does vary, depending on who's telling it. Some say that he was a firefighter who died in a fire. Others say that he was an electrician who was electrocuted to death. But
Just
regardless of.
They
what the
all
man's
have ironic
occupation.
deaths. Like,
Right.
okay.
Absolutely. Despite his occupation, the rest of the story stays pretty consistent. So, it said that the Bandaged Man, which is what he's called, is covered in bloodstained bandages, which is obviously where he gets his name. So the first story of the Bandaged Man showed up in the 1950s. A teen couple had parked their truck overlooking the beach. Moments later, they heard rustling in the trees right outside the truck. So the couple convinced themselves, hey, it's fine. It's probably just an animal, maybe the wind. So they ignored
Mhm.
it. A short time later, they were hit with a terrible stench of decay and death. And then, as soon as that happened, suddenly the truck began to move as if somebody was trying to climb into the bed of the truck. The couple turned and looked out the back window just to see a bloody man covered in oozing bandages staring back at them.
Oh,
The,
shit.
Thankfully, the driver had his wits about him enough to start the truck and speed off, almost crashing a couple of times. Once they got a good distance away, they stopped, they looked back again, and the guy was gone. So they were like, okay, great, he fell. We're done. So the couple continued driving until they reached a well lit area. When they got out of the truck to investigate the bed, all they found was a single piece of bloody bandage.
Well, that's a fun one.
Yeah.
Love that. I feel bad for him that he smells, though. Like,
No.
you don't want to be the cryptid that smells.
No, you don't.
It's the aroma that smells.
The aroma.
They're like, "Oh, man, we could tell the Bandage Man was coming because
Ooh, I smelled it before I saw him.
a little beal."
No, I imagine he probably smells of decay and infection.
Well, yeah.
You're
Ew.
welcome. Everybody knows what that smells like.
Yeah,
And if
it
you don't,
smells
you're
like
lucky.
antifreeze and rotting meat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've never thought about that before, but yeah, antifreeze. You're right.
Yeah, I had a buddy who was a corpse removal technician, and, he'd come in to the video store where I was working, and he didn't smell great,
Yeah,
like, after his shift, you
I
know?
would imagine.
And, he's like, "Yeah, yeah, it smells like a antifreeze and rotting meat." And I was like, "It does!" And so ever since then, I that sweet little scent that you get on
Uh
decay,
huh.
not that I'm around corpses all the time, but you're out in the woods, you smell it sometimes.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
All right, so now we are going to talk about a witch from the 1800s. So I'm going to take you down to Mississippi. On the banks of the Yazoo River, there lived a witch. She was said to lure fishermen to her cottage, and then she would poison them and use their bodies in rituals or something.
Oh, she's wonderful.
Yeah, she's great. She's everything I want to be when I grow up.
A
Um,
swamp hag?
yes. So one afternoon, a young man came across her house. He peeked into the window and saw two dead men laying on the floor. The witch was standing between the two men. She was looking up at the ceiling and she was chanting this awful chant. So the man ran to town to tell the sheriff what he had seen. The
Wait,
sheriff,
could we back
what?
up a second? Does your sources give the awful chant?
It doesn't. It just said that the noise was a terrible, hideous noise.
Oh, okay, I thought
Yeah.
that it was, like, really bad meter. She was just all over the place. Slant rhymes.
No, no, no. It just was a horrendous noise to hear, I think is what one of the sources had said.
Oh.
So the man ran into town to tell the sheriff what he had seen. And then the sheriff decided that he was going to assemble a posse to find the witch. They were done with her shenanigans. They were gonna take her in and try her for her crimes. When the posse arrived back at the witch's house, there was no bodies to be found in her home at all whatsoever, and the witch was gone. They then caught sight of her just right inside, like, the forest line, and they began to chase her. She was faster than the guys were, so soon they all lost sight of her. Unfortunately, she fell into some quicksand, and so
Oh
the men
no.
eventually did find her. The posse had plenty of time to save this person, but the sheriff would not allow them to. He said that this was a fitting punishment for her crimes. Before the quicksand could completely overtake her, she swore she would get her revenge. She said she would return in 20 years and burn the city of Yazoo to the ground. After the sheriff was sure that she was actually dead, they did retrieve her body from the quicksand. And,
Jeez.
I know, and took her to be buried in the Glenwood Cemetery. The grave was surrounded by iron chains because apparently iron was believed to neutralize evil.
Mhm.
After. Doo, doo, doo.
Okay,
Oh,
so the
go ahead.
lady, they have no credible crimes on her. The only thing that they know is she's weird and lives alone in the woods.
Yeah, she's a witch, so she had to go.
And some dude's account of like, "Nah, man, there was totally dead bodies and she was like doing some Dr. Seuss stuff and it sounded terrible."
Yeah,
So I'm
because
gonna point out that this is Mississippi. What's the era, Sarah?
1880s.
So this is a place that used to lynch people on just a trust me, bro. So I can see that happening to some lady in the woods, whether she was guilty or not.
Oh, I wasn't denying that it happened. I was just appalled that it did.
Oh,
Like the sheriff's
absolutely.
being like, "Hey, wait, wait, wait. I want to see where this goes." Like she's
Yeah.
drowning. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Just give it a
but
second.
this fits her crimes. If she can't swim, she must be a witch. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So after she was buried and the chains were put around her grave, life in Yazoo went back to normal. The fishermen were finally able to go about their business without fear of being killed. You know, it would be an easy way to not get killed. Don't go to her house for dinner. But what do I know? So life went back to normal for 20 years. And on May 25th, 1904, a
Mhm.
massive fire took down the entire town. It took down a total of 324 structures. Some sources say that the fire was started in the parlor of a home, which, that's believable, right? Shit
Mhm.
happens, accidents happen. Um, but what the people in town couldn't explain was the sudden uptake in winds. That was very unusual for the time of year that it was going on. And this helped spread the fire throughout the entire town. So, somebody in the town who had lived there through the witch being executed and all of this remembered that she had said in 20 years, I'm going to come back and I am going to take you all down with me. So, the townsperson went to the witch's grave and found that the chains surrounding her had broken into two. So, the chains
Ah,
are no longer keeping her in.
so iron doesn't work.
Iron does work unless it's broken.
But you think
Mm,
she had an accomplice?
I don't know, maybe age or
Okay,
maybe they
okay.
weren't actually iron. I don't know.
They cheaped out. They're like,
Yeah. They're like, "They told me this was iron." "Sir, that's
I mean,
plastic."
it's a zinc alloy, but
Yeah. Say an aluminum alloy.
Alright. So, sources say that the chains were repaired, um, but even to this day, the chains are still there. You can still go and visit the grave at Glenwood Cemetery. The chains have broken and been repaired multiple times,
Is there
and it is
fire every time?
no.
Oh.
It's said that if all the chains are removed, that she will return again to exact her revenge to the town of Yazoo.
Sarah, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down.
Let's go break the chains to see what happens.
Hey, I'm here to help a sister out. I'm in.
Yeah, me too. This lady was done dirty.
Yeah, burn it down.
Yeah. She's like, she comes out, she's like, "I don't even know these people. This is weird here."
Watch me get a bunch of hate mail from the citizens of Yazoo.
Well, they were up to freaky shit. They understand.
Listen, you guys were letting old ladies in the woods just die in quicksand.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a bad death.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't know Mississippi had quicksand, but that makes me not like it even more.
Oh, for some reason you said Mississippi, I was thinking Louisiana.
Close.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. In my head, I was like, "Huh, this has like real coffin girl vibes to me." Like where
Uh-huh.
they're like, "Oh, we keep the windows nailed shut," you know. It's got a chain on its graveyard, that kind of thing. So, but anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight. And join us next time as we are talking about underground.
Subterranean societies and monsters.
Ooh.